Howdy guys, it's Marshall here again, and today we'll be going through a quick fire list that will probably remind you you're older than you think if you remember having or experiencing any one of this. So without further ado, let's get started with Nerd Cereal. Back in 1983, the Nerds candy burst onto the scene and quickly became a huge hit with kids all over. It was such a sensation that just 2 years later they introduced the Nerd Cereal, and it was a real treat. Ralston took the same genius idea from the candy and packed 2 flavors into every box. You were getting a double dose of deliciousness. So when you were pushing the shopping cart down the cereal aisle, you had a choice between 2 options. One was the tantalizing blend of grape and strawberry, and the other box offered the irresistible combo of orange and cherry. No boring single flavor cereal here, that's for sure. You had the power to pick the perfect pair of flavors to start your day off right. If the flavors weren't enough to get you to buy a bowl, each box came with 2 freebies, from collectible pins that had the Nerds mascots in them to fruit-scented markers you were probably hounding mom to get you lots of boxes just for you to get the premiums. But wait, there's more. Ralston and Nerds took the merchandise of Nerd Cereal to a whole new level by introducing something truly special, the Nerd Cereal Bowl. This bowl was designed to perfectly complement the dual variety theme of the cereal. For just a few proofs of purchase and 50 cents, you could actually get your hands on this official Nerd Cereal Bowl. What made this bowl so unique? Well, it had 2 separate compartments, just like the flavors in the cereal. This meant that you could enjoy both flavors in the same bowl without them mixing together. But here comes the sweetest feature. The bowl had a gate built into the dividing wall. That's right, a gate in a cereal bowl. You could raise the gate a little and let the milk flow between the compartments, giving you the freedom to have a bit of both flavors in each spoonful. Or, if you were feeling adventurous, you could raise the gate all the way and let both cereal flavors blend together, creating a breakfast experience like no other. CB radio. You know what's really fascinating? Back in the day, the Citizens Band Radio, or CB radio for short, was a commonly used device among truckers. Those hardworking folks relied on CB radios not only to communicate with each other, but also to stay updated on road conditions, making sure they could make their deliveries on time. Plus, it added a whole new level of enjoyment to their solo journeys. Just like how online communication spread like wildfire today, CB radios became the truckers' social media. They even came up with their own radio language, which some people still use to this day. But what made CB radio so captivating was the conversations and interactions you could have with other people. If you ever tinkered with Dad's CB radio in his garage, you know how unpredictable it can get. Most of the time, these exchanges were pretty ordinary and everyday stuff. But every now and then, something unexpected would happen. Imagine this, you're on channel 19 chatting away with a nearby friend, minding your own business, when suddenly the sound of a chicken clucking interrupts you. That's what tuning into a CB radio frequency was like back then. These were the moments that made the CB radio truly unforgettable. Connect 4. If you remember Connect 4, then you've probably logged in quite a few hours in this game. This classic game, which some folks call a more complicated version of tic-tac-toe, is known for its easy yet strategic gameplay. Why do you think it's such a beloved choice for game night? The objective of Connect 4 is quite simple. You try to be the first to connect 4 of their colored discs in a row. The rows can be formed vertically, horizontally, or diagonally on the vertical grid. What makes Connect 4 near and dear to our hearts is its accessibility and addictiveness. The rules are easy to grasp, allowing players of all ages to jump right in and start having fun. But the gameplay itself requires thoughtful planning and strategic thinking. You have to carefully consider each move, or your opponent is bound to get the better of you. But did you know that Connect 4 was created after Howard Wexler, the game's inventor, saw his son playing with pencils and coins? Pretty interesting if you ask me. So how you liking our trip down memory lane so far? Hey, if you're enjoying this video, it would mean the world to me if you gave it a like and considered subscribing. Now let's keep going, and if you remember this next one, that means you're pretty old. 8-track. The 8-track was a total game changer in the world of portable music. Finally, you could have a selection curated songs right in your car. It was all about freedom. No longer were you at the mercy of radio DJs or limited cassette options. Think about it, cruising down the highway with your favorite tunes blasting through those speakers, hand-picked by you. It surely made for a more memorable ride. Mechanically speaking, they weren't as sleek as the formats that came later. Plus, they couldn't always deliver the complete album experience like vinyl could. But hey, back then, having a stash of 8-tracks was an absolute must. So let's raise a glass to those good old days when a glove box full of 8-tracks was the ultimate must-have for any music lover on the move. Dinner tray. Thanks to TV taking over our lives, dinner became a casual affair while watching shows like The Price is Right in our living rooms. And you know what made it possible? The trusty TV tray. It allowed the whole family to enjoy their meals in such an unusual place to eat. The TV dinner tray, though its exact inventor remains a mystery, perfectly captured the spirit of a whole new generation. These nifty little tables capitalized on the increasing fascination with television in the 1950s. By 1960, almost 90% of American households owned a TV, and it seemed like everyone from famous cultural icons to regular families was using TV tray tables. The Reagans made headlines when they opted for TV trays in the White House instead of more formal dining rooms. Talk about breaking tradition. But the real game changer came when Swanson introduced frozen dinners. That's when the whole at-home, laid-back dining revolution really kicked off. Back in 1953, Swanson, a well-known food producer, found themselves in quite a pickle. They made a huge miscalculation during Thanksgiving and ended up with a mountain of leftover turkey with no clue how to deal with it all. But fear not, because the hero emerged in the form of Jerry Thomas, a savvy salesman working for the company. He came up with a brilliant idea inspired by the pre-made food trays served on airplanes. Combining that concept with the cutting-edge flash freezing technique, he created the world's very first TV dinner. In no time, his turkey dinners, complete with mouth-watering cornbread stuffing, hit the shelves of supermarkets across the nation. It didn't take long for busy families all over America to catch on. Who knew a Thanksgiving mishap would lead to such a tasty revolution? Linoleum flooring. Do you remember visiting Grandma's house over the summer and being mesmerized by the colorful and wacky pattern on her floor? You might not have known it back then, but you were actually looking at linoleum. Linoleum was built to last. It was a tough cookie, capable of withstanding the everyday wear and tear of busy households. And let's not forget about its style game. Linoleum came in an array of colors and patterns, giving people the freedom to choose from mosaics, tiles, marbles, and even carpet-like designs. It was like having a whole world of floor fashion right at your feet. Believe it or not, just over a decade after its invention, linoleum had already become a common sight in homes and commercial buildings everywhere. It was everywhere you looked. People were so enamored with it that linoleum became synonymous with any smooth floor covering of its kind. Conversation pit. Ah, those unforgettable sunken living rooms. Don't you just miss the glory days of the conversation pit? It's one of those defining elements of a home from yesteryear. The conversation pit takes seating to a whole new level. It's a clever design concept that integrates built-in seating into a sunken section of the living room. But it's not just any seating arrangement. The seats are placed to face each other, creating a central focus and bringing people closer together than your usual standalone tables and chairs. The beauty of a conversation pit is in its ability to create intimacy and connection. The cozy setup becomes a hub for conversation, no matter the occasion. So whether you're having a deep heart-to-heart talk or enjoying a delightful meal with friends, the conversation pit adds that extra touch of togetherness to your gatherings. So which of these made you feel old, and which one made you feel really old? Tell us your story in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.